All right, ladies and gentlemen, I saw some of you guys emailed me through my website, realistnews.net, some of the thoughts you may have had or other people have had about the Economist 2017 magazine cover. We know they love to put stuff on that magazine or in that magazine that's going to happen to us sheeple or in the world. And I've got a guy that I've had some conversations with a few times through email who would know about the tarot card side of things, if you will. So he's given me his explanation of what he feels this is saying. I think it's definitely interesting enough to read back to you all with what, not necessarily what someone like me, not knowing the maybe esoteric side or tarot card side or whatever of things. I'm looking at elitists, government, corruption, putting stuff in our face, that kind of stuff. He's going to present a kind of similar but different view. So here we go. I'm going to leave this video background up so you can follow along with what I'm talking about. Hi, Joe. Here is my reading on these cards. You might want to cut and paste into an editor so that the paragraphs or line breaks will show through. There are 8 cards indicating that they come from a position of authority or management. 8 also represents the power that springs from within that enables the accomplishment of goals. All the cards are from the major arcana, which represents what happens to us rather than what we do. All the cards are upright, indicating that the standard meanings should apply. Anyone can look up the meanings online and draw their own conclusions. Normally, when getting a reading, there needs to be a statement regarding why the cards are being drawn. In this case, because the Economist magazine is presented from the elites, and the cover always shows what they intend to see unfold during the calendar year, we can safely assume that the cards are here to show the non-elites what will transpire. That's you and I. Typically, the first card represents the tone of the reading. Because the magazine is English, we can assume left to right reading. Thus, the tone is set by the Tower, which is that first card. The Tower represents structures that have been built that need to come down. At its heart, a new order, if you will. This is a card of upheaval and the only trump card in the deck that deals specifically with worldly structures. It is a very powerful card of change that is rooted in man not following the rules of the gods. It is the card of punishment for stepping out of bounds. It is the burn that man feels from both fire and ice. Institutions are destroyed and will never be the same again. The lifestyle that man has felt will be changed forever. It also represents the freedom that we feel when we're released from a false belief system. Thus, man's belief systems and long-standing institutions are in play. Typically, the cards that follow have supportive roles on the theme that give details, and the last card might be a final outcome, thus, what supports this drastic change. Judgment. This card signifies a completion and new lease on life. It is the day of reckoning. It is the completion of the karmic cycle. Depending on the choices, what we have made in life, it is now time to reap the positive or negative rewards. It represents the opportunity that is at hand where the slate can be wiped clean for a new start. In the end, this card teaches us that we are ultimately responsible for our own actions and that we cannot get away from the consequences. From the artist, looks like the new ruler is Trump, and he holds the timing in his hand. The world. This is the realization of a goal. It is the ultimate conclusion of the fool's journey, thus the ultimate start of a new journey. This card is all about change and the integration of completeness. It may even hint at self-realization. It signifies a unification of understanding with ourselves, a balance that we feel as harmonious or success. From the artist, they seem to connect Africa to Europe to America. The items in the sky seem to represent knowledge, history, art, religion. The world generally represents all 4 elements of our experience. The hermit The Hermit, this card represents the wisdom that comes in time, can be thought of as Father Time. Typically plays out as the wise of philosopher that is able to stand on his own. May represent that we are on our own, or that we stand in darkness, only seeing a short distance ahead of us. The Hermit teaches us that everything comes in its own time and cannot be forced. It is having the will to wait in silence until the time is right. From the Artist, it looks like there are global initiatives that are not finding this time to be correct. The earth is not unified, or it is cracked. Death. The Death card. This is the card of transformation. Seated on a horse, it represents powerful, sweeping changes that will not be able to be reversed. This card typically has naked people on it, signifying that you will not be able to take your worldly things with you through this transition. It is the type of change that people fear, but generally leads to a greener pastures. It reaffirms the original card, where we need to let something die before we can start something new. The level of pain associated with the change is directly related to the amount of resistance to it. The Magician card. This card is the messenger of the gods that is here to instruct us that there is a choice to make to start our journey. It represents a raw energy flow that could have an infinite number of outcomes. Inwardly, it represents the conscious, subconscious link that is the root of power if we so choose to bring it in play. This is a clean slate card for the reader, is the one that has to choose what the next adventure is. The Magician plays the role of being the trickster, or the one that shows you your options with no regard to the karmic consequences. Only a fool would blindly listen to the Magician without thoroughly thinking and feeling out where your choice will take you. From the Artist, we can again see the four elements represented in houses that we can choose from. The Wheel of Fortune. This is the card of faith and hope in a situation of never-ending changes in circumstance. It is the one card in the deck that stands above the rest in that it cannot be changed. It represents destiny. Represents destiny. It is the opposite of the feather blowing in the breeze. You were put in this situation. It is by grand design, yet it is a turn of events. Typically, the card shows us that life is constantly in motion, and without that motion, things would get static and we would cease to grow. From the Artist, we see that different countries are bound to the wheel, suggesting that their situations will change. The final card typically expresses the final outcome or the perceived goal. The Star. This is the card of eternal hope. It is the belief in a better future. The star connects us to that part of ourselves that never gives up and is faithful. It is that knowing that anything is possible as long as we have hope. It is a bright card in a dark situation. It is the inspiration that keeps us on the path. This card brings a new sense of purpose and belief in ourselves. It encourages you to follow your dreams and to not doubt. The Star promises the release from past difficulties and traumas. From the Artist, we see what could be faces of hope in a comet to amplify its power. Reading from left to right, top to bottom, long-lasting institutions will come crashing down at the hand or the new ruler that plays the role of the judge. The entire world is affected, and what was planned now sits in waiting for the right time. The transitions that we will be going through will not be reversible, and there are infinite possibilities for our next choice. There are still actions to transpire around the world that will radically change countries' positions, and in the end, the energy that keeps us going will be a light in the darkness. It is a reading of hope through a change in fortune. He says, things that stand out to me. These are cards of actions that will happen to us. These are powerful inner change cards that affect the spirit of people, as in mankind. It feels like the magazine has stepped back or retreated. I can't wait to read other people's interpretations of this spread. So that's a man named David. Found that very interesting, his take on this. I couldn't come up with that if my life depended on it. But on the other hand, my grandma Helen, Evelyn, is she coming to Thanksgiving?
No.
Grandma's not?
No, she hasn't been to anything for years.
Grandma's not coming to this Thanksgiving. She's quite old now and stays home for the most part. But I was going to say, she looks at that kind of stuff. Astrology, tarot cards, things.
Your mom.
My mom actually does too. And I think I'm going to send her this screenshot without the world in 2017. I'm going to take that out. I'm just going to put the cards. I'm going to screenshot that, email it to her, and say, Mom, what do you make of this? Not going to tell her anything else. Because my mom, by the way, does have psychic ability. There was a commuter plane, a small plane crashed into a large plane, I think in 1976 or 77 or something, in San Diego. That's where I grew up. That's where I was born. So my sister was born. And she was having horrible nightmares. I can't remember if she was either born with me, pregnant with me or my sister. I can't remember. But she was telling my dad, we've got to move out of this apartment complex. There's these nightmares. It's the same one. It keeps happening. We've got to get out here. He's like, come on, get that nonsense out of here. Kept happening. She said, that's it. I can't take it. I'm leaving either with or without you. I can't stay here. They're terrifying. I don't. So he finally gives in. All right, let's go. They moved fairly close by, just to another apartment complex, actually. She stopped having the dreams. It was an extremely short period of time. My dad, back then, he told me he was an ice cream truck driver. He has his own little ice cream truck business. And he had a friend of his riding with him that day. And they heard and saw the planes crash. And you could see fireballs coming down from the sky, essentially, from this plane. That's exactly what my mom was dreaming about over and over again. Fireballs falling down the sky, on top of her, whatever. I'll be damned. True story. His buddy says, let's go see it. It's right down the street. He goes, I don't know. I don't know if I want to see that. No, come on, take me. I got to see it. So my dad's like, all right, I'll drive you over there, but I'm not getting out of the truck. I don't want to see it. My dad's thinking bodies hitting the ground. I don't want to see that. So they go over there. It is in the exact apartment complex they lived in that my mom was begging him to move out of. I'm not making this up. This is a true story. 100% true. My dad told me, and he don't even believe in that. He thinks psychic, that's witchcraft, nonsense. Dad, step in my office. You freaking married the lady. You know better than that. But he still attests, yeah, that did happen. She did have the dreams, and it was happening. And he saw, along with his friend, people running over there, pulling rings off of fingers and, taking necklaces off of piles of mush, if you will. The guy was sick for 2 weeks, throwing up for 2 weeks straight because of what he saw. Not just people looting, but what a body looks like when it hits the ground and that sort of thing. Just the destruction. And that was my dad that said that's why I never wanted to get out. I stayed here. I didn't want to see any of it. He saw the people running over there looting, but that was it. So, anyways, sending this to my mom. Mom, what do you make of this? I will guarantee she'll probably get back to me tonight. And if she does, and it's another story like this, I think I'll read it one way or the other. I'm curious what my mom has to say about this. So, take care, peeps. Till the next video.